Hi everyone, Rebecca here. I'm a teacher librarian in Australia, and I'm going to talk to you just about, well, actually, I'm just going to show you what I've been covering lately. I do a lot of the book covering in my school library, and I'm actually about to change libraries. So I brought a lot of books home so that I could then return them, so that the new librarian didn't have a lot of covering to do. So let's get started. So, first one. Be Your Own Man by Jessica Sanders. Now, this one is for boys, and it's just about how you can be a boy. Just, you don't have to fill a particular way of being just because of the gender you are. Um, and it's, I guess, a companion to the other book that Jessica Sanders wrote, which is Love Your Body, which is more for the girls. So that's an interesting one. Got these beautiful illustrations. And the lovely thing at the back of this is it talks about places that kids can go if they have questions about things, and other books that they can read, in particular about gender. And it also has discussion points that you might want to think about what it's like to be a man or a boy. Next one, Art in Country. This is a compilation of Bronwyn Bancroft's 4 of her books. Just beautiful illustrations. So that's a really lovely book. And this book here, This Boy Can, is similar to Be Your Own Man, but I feel that Be Your Own Man has more ways of it discusses more the kinds of things and places boys can go if they're feeling a bit sad or confused. This one just gives you lots of things that you can do. So it's beautifully illustrated as well. Non-fiction, The First Scientists. This is a really interesting book because it looks at science from the perspective of an Indigenous point of view, and the way that in the past, the kinds of things that Indigenous people might have done. So how they looked at engineering. So you talk about boomerangs and fish traps. The first forensic scientists. So you talk about bush trackers and bush rangers. The first chemists talking about bush medicine. The first land managers creating food using fire, colonisation, leaders with deadly passion, and the first ecologists. Now, I didn't read everything, so you just have information about how Indigenous people were scientists in the past and today. So we talk about the emu and those sort of things. So this is a lovely one if you want to see information about science. Now my computer seems to have gone a dark colour. Okay, there we go. Little one. Now Jane Godwin is known for really emotional books, I think you would say. And this one's about this little girl and this beautiful little doll that she has, and how she tells this doll everything. But something sad happens and she loses the doll, and it's about how the little girl deals with that loss. John Clason. Now I'm late to the John Clason fan club, but oh boy, I've just read 2 and I don't know what happened to the other one. Oh, here it is. This one. This is amazing. If you haven't read The Rock from the Sky, you've got to read it, but you've got to read it in voices. So the lovely thing about this is it's actually a chapter, but it's a picture book, is the words are written in different colours. So you've got to make sure that when you've got the bold words, the dark, you're reading it in the turtle's voice, and when you're reading it, when you get to the lighter, you read it in another voice. Now I'm not sure what that is. Is it an armadillo maybe? This is so funny. It is so funny. It is thick, but it's great. And you just have to look so carefully at the illustrations to know what's going on. And so this book is similar. It's a quicker read. It's about a little fish that steals a hat and what happens. And again, classic John Clason illustrations, and you just got to look at those eyes. They're amazing. Oldie but goodie, The Dot, about a little person that gives up drawing because he feels that he can't do anything, and just what happens. It's a little girl, sorry, Vashti. Next. Okay, this is a hard one. This is the boy who tried to shrink his name. It's about a young person, and I have a lot of problems saying it, but I will try. Zimdalamashke Mishkakada, who has started a new school, and he is embarrassed by his name, and he just wants to shrink it. But over time, he starts learning and teaching people how to say his name. His name trips him up, and this beautiful orange string, you have to look really carefully, because when I read this book to the children in year 2, they absolutely loved it, and they picked out stuff in the illustrations that I hadn't even seen, and they asked to hear it again and again. So this is a really lovely book about being who you want to be. This one now, in My Mosque, it just talks about what happens in this particular child's mosque. Beautiful illustrations by the illustrator of The Proudest Blue, which is another fantastic picture book about being Muslim or being part of Islam. This one here, I don't know a lot about Kathy Freeman, so reading this really helped me. It's an illustrated autobiography. And it's just about her life. Her life, beautiful illustrations, simply told, so that the children can get an idea of who Kathy Freeman is, and the struggles that she faced. In particular, the struggle she faced as an Indigenous sports person. Great. So I was looking for this one. Leo and the Logans Curse. Marcy and the Riddle of the Sphinx. Arthur and the Golden Rope. The Secret of Black Rock, and A Mouse Called Julian. I have done a review. I didn't do anything about Leo and the Logans Curse, but boy, these are fantastic books. If you haven't read them, and you've got a young person in your life, 4 to 8, these are a great introduction to mythology, and they're just beautifully illustrated, and they're all about adventure, and finding yourself as an adventurer. Beautiful books. Have a look at the other chat that I've done on those. This one here, The 7 Seas of Fleas, is just an adventure book, I suppose. It's about a little boy that shrinks and tries to get across his backyard away from his dog when he's trying to wash it. It's a bit unusual. Okay. I have to say, I wasn't going to say anything, but I found it a very difficult read, so I think it has a particular niche audience, that one. This one here, I'm Sticking With You, is about friendship. This is a great one to talk about how it's okay to want to be alone sometimes, because this little squirrel just feels overwhelmed by Bear all the time. And so Bear is constantly wanting to be around Squirrel, and then Squirrel's like, I've kind of had enough. You need to give me some space. Oops, I've jumped to the very end. So it's beautifully illustrated, great talking point. I have used that with year 1 and 2, and we had a good talk about what they thought the message was, and a lot of them talked about friendship. Next, wildlife. Pete Cromer is an Australian artist, and this one is simply his artwork and some basic facts about the animals that he's created his artwork for. He tends to do collage. He's a collage artist. Next, I can't tell you much about this because I didn't actually read it, but it's just the Big Book of Festivals. Again, I'm just showing you what's in my basket of what's going into my school library. So these are really, lovely illustrations and basic double-page spreads about different carnivals across the world, or festivals around the world. This one's going to be well loved. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Peculiar Pairs in Nature. This author illustrator has done the Encyclopedia of Ugly Animals and the Encyclopedia of Dangerous Animals. Now, the Ugly Animals one is really well loved, and basically it's an illustrated copy about. This one's about the different pairings of plants and animals, or animals and animals, okay, things that they do together and why they do so. Okay, I've got another copy of this one, and kids love this series. Do not open this book or else. And this one's fantastic because you have to, the way if you're sharing it, you really have to think about how you're going to share it with the kids, because the final page, he's shrinking and shrinking and he's going to come and get you. So you have to kind of very quickly shut the book so that he can't get out to get you. Okay, reaching in some more. Okay, Mascot Madness, Andy Griffiths, always a favourite. Last Kids on Earth. As far as I know, this is the first graphic novel of the series. It's a Netflix series. We have all the chapter books in the library, and I think this will go off the shelves really quickly. Let's see, what else have I got in here? Oh, now there's this book here. This is really good. I really enjoyed this one. I actually should get a copy for myself, because it gave me lots of inspiration for myself about how to be the best person I could possibly be, how to be a hero for myself and for others. So it has little things. Shoot for the moon, even if you miss and land among the stars, dare to dream. And then it gives little stories about people that have lived that particular dream. Or if I go to number 2, see, it's kind of graphic. It's really, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I really need to get a copy. Okay, every talent can be a superpower. And then it explains why, and then gives a story. And there were some unusual ones in here that I wouldn't have expected. So it's not all the normal people that you would expect to see in here as being heroes. This one I haven't read, can't say anything about it. Easy peasy, awesome pawsome, dog training for kids. At the moment, I've got lots of children in year 1 and 2 that are wanting books on dogs and cats, so I had to pick that one up. Origami, always a favourite. Graphic novels, Super Potatoes, and the follow-up. Now I have to give a big rap to this next one, Rapper B. This is not one that you're going to find easily in bookstores because it's a local poet, but if you can, he is great. Harry Lang came out to our school this year as part of the Chief Minister's Reading Challenge, and he gave the most fantastic presentation, performance. The kids adored him, and lots of them went away and wrote their own poetry, and he has memorized all the poems that he's written, and this is his latest release. So if you get a chance, go and have a look at this. Go and look at his website. I'm sure there's stuff on there. This is just a unit of inquiry kind of thing. And this one, Inside Out and Back Again. This is the story of a young girl during the Vietnam War that has to leave, and what life is like for her when she gets to the US. This is for older readers, and it is written in verse. It's a verse novel. So it's quite fast, but it gives you a really great insight into the life of what it would be like to be a refugee. I hope you enjoyed this, and leave a message for me if you did. Thanks.